Good morning and welcome to the RentalSaaS webinar. Basically, the purpose of this webinar is to give you a good overview of the RentalSaaS system and how it can help you gain better visibility and tighter control in your business. Running a rental company is challenging at the best of times. However, in our experience with a number of rental companies around Australia and New Zealand, there are three major challenges that these rental companies face. Things like equipment availability, regular billing of rentals, and compliance. Equipment availability. Let's delve a bit deeper into that. We have found that many SME rental companies still continue to use Excel spreadsheets and other documents to store details about the rentals happening. And in most cases, the data is on people's heads as to who has got what, when that needs to be billed, when it's due for service, when the next rental is happening, who has booked these key equipment, at any specific time, etc. And a lot of time is wasted trying to ascertain, all your data related to an item, and obviously its history of movements. Things like quoting for rentals sometimes can be a major hassle because you don't know whether the equipment is available at a particular time. Regular billing. One thing is making the equipment available for rental, but it's a totally different thing to continuously invoice your customers. Because in our experience, we found many customers simply forgetting to raise invoices on a timely basis, leading to cash flow issues and all that. So especially for rental businesses with long-term rentals, regular invoicing is time-consuming and requires dedicated effort. And businesses just simply ignore this key thing and only start to invoice when suddenly they realize there is no money in the bank and the cash flow is starting to hurt. And the last thing is in terms of compliance. Compliance can mean different things to different people, but ultimately it's keeping your records straight so that the taxman is happy, and also you have proper records, especially when you have issues with your customers or other stakeholders in the business. Things like PPSR in Australia and other legislation in other countries can have serious impact on your record keeping ability, and RentalSaaS streamlines all of that. So by making all data related to your rentals in one area, you are now able to completely manage your rentals in a streamlined fashion. So just to recap, the three key challenges being equipment availability, regular billing, and compliance. And let's see how RentalSaaS solves all of these problems and help you answer all these questions. Do you wish to identify which items are to be returned? And do you want to identify which availables are now ready to be rented out? Invoice your long-term rentals in one mouse click, and how often a customer has rented equipment. Let's see all of these in the form of a simple demo or a complete training on the RentalSaaS system. So to go to the RentalSaaS system, just log on to RentalSaaS and just click login. And specify your username and then your password, and then you are in the system. Now, as you can see, the RentalSaaS system is a completely cloud-based system. So you can use the system anywhere, whether on a Mac or a PC or even a tablet device. So it's a browser-based system, so as long as you have access to a browser anywhere, you can use the system using any device as long as you have internet connection. Initially, you establish connection to your Xero accounting system through File and Load Xero Data. Just click Connect to Xero, specify your Xero credentials such as your username and password, and click Connect, and that will establish your link to Xero. And once done, just click Load Data, and that will start to link your customers, your items, your GL account codes, and your tax codes and other things from Xero into the add-on system. Initially, for each business, the system needs to be configured to your specific requirements. The company configuration screen just gives you basic details about the company, so you can specify your logo and other things that will be shown on the reports. The application configuration allows you to do a few things. If you're using quantity that requires decimal places, we have certain customers in the jewelry industry where they rent out precious jewels and stones and all that, which can be 0.225 carats and things like that. So they needed to have that kind of capability. So the system allows you to have decimal points. And if you are using tracking categories in Xero, then you can select which tracking category you want to use, right? And once you do that, then you can select the default tracking app option that you can use within the rental transactions or bookings. Make your selection and click the Save button to do that. The next one is rental agreements. Now, this is where you specify the text that you will print out along with the rental equipment so that you can get your customer to sign off. When they are on site, you just create the rental transaction, print out the rental agreement, and they can sign it off right then and there. This is all customizable by you, so you can make it bold, underlined, align left, align right, whatever you want to do. So it's all customizable by you. Click Save. The details are saved. Similarly, you can also have your own invoice terms and conditions. The invoice terms and conditions allow you to, again, copy and paste text from your existing Word document or PDF and make it available here. Then this becomes your terms and conditions that you include with your rental agreement. Another key functionality provided by the system is to have extra fields. On the rental transaction screen, we provide a lot of fields to capture data about your rentals and things like that. However, certain industries require additional data to be captured. For example, if you are an event management company, then you may need to capture the details of the show, the stand, the event manager, and other details. So you can call them whatever you like using this label, and you can make them whether they are active or inactive so that they are shown on the rental transaction screen. Hope that makes sense. So this sundry fields allows you to maintain 4 additional fields of your own choice that you can use for any purpose within the rental transactions and bookings. Custom charges. This is where you specify other charges such as delivery, installation, commissioning, decommissioning, repairs, maintenance, and anything else that you charge over and above your rental equipment. In some cases, you may charge fuel or a consultant or a fixed rate, whatever, you can use it for any purpose you want. And all the details, such as your GL account, your tax code, etc., they come through as part of your zero setup. So all these things are as part of your zero setup. Now, you can also have email templates available for a number of purposes. When you send out emails as part of your rentals, you can have a template. You can just say, thanks very much for your business. Please find the hire rental agreement for your items. Should you require further information, please contact us on 1300-131-842. And you can save the details. So, from the rental screen, you can send this email, and we have a similar template for the booking as well. So you can have different kinds of text for different purposes. And for example, for termination, you may have a different text that you may wish to use. So the system is flexible enough to make it work with your business. Again, we make it really easy for your data entry. Whether you hire it out on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly, whatever, the system allows you to configure. So even if you want to charge things on, say, 3-hourly basis, you can just say 3 hourly, and then you say 3, and then you can say that's the hours. And we'll show you how these are used within the bookings and rentals. The system allows you to extract utilization reports of your equipment. So you can specify how many days are available for each month of the year. Say, for example, in March, we have 22 available days. And in April, we have, considering the Easter long weekend, etc., you have 19 days available. So you can extract the utilization report, which will go into it shortly, and see how these data is used to come up with utilization figures for your equipment. Having configured all of these, you are ready to input data about your inventory items and all that. Go to the inventory menu and select inventory management. Remember, we spoke about the key challenges being equipment availability and things like that. This is where the guts of the system start in terms of your inventory. So select an item, and you can maintain a whole lot of additional data about the item, such as its make and model. So you can call it, Sealy Posturepedic or something like that. And you can also maintain the pricing of the equipment. Daily, weekly, fortnightly, whatever rental period types that you configured, they come out here. We just entered a period called 3 hourly, and that comes across as well. When you do your rentals for this equipment, if you include other charges such as installation, fitting, delivery, fuel, etc., you can have the basic data available. So suppose you charge $20 for installation, then whenever this item is rented out, the system will automatically include $20 to it. Components, you can use this as kit, something similar to kits. For example, if you are audiovisual hire company and you have, say, an amplifier kit, which includes amplifiers, your turntables, your CD deck, a couple of microphones and all that, you can include all of those things as part of this kit. During rentals, you don't have to specify the individual parts to come through every time. All you do is select this kit and that will come through within the system. Accessories are other items that you include part of your rental. For example, with this item, if you include steel pipe fitting, then that goes with the item. For example, with a hospital bed and things like that, you may have steps or other things to be included in. You can also include a picture about the item just for information purposes so that you know what kind of equipment you're dealing with. And you can also attach additional documents about this item. For example, if you have this item that includes a warrant of fitness certificate, or it includes like a registration certificate or any other documents like an install guide or a user guide or a maintenance checklist or whatever, you can include all those items, all those documents as part of this item. Once this is, you can also specify the minimum cost and period. For example, this item, Air Comfort Deluxe Bed, it needs to be hired out for a minimum of 4 days, and the minimum cost is $100 for the 4 days. So even if the customer rents it for just 1 day, they'll have to pay a minimum of $100 for it. And you can always inquire about the historical movement of this item at any time. So find out, give me the bookings for all this item, from say 1st of March to 31st of March or something like that, for 1st of April, and show all the bookings. The system tells you that these are the bookings currently in the system. Right. We have now set up an item. The next step is to specify the stock details, which is basically configuring your serial numbers. You may have 10, 15, or 20 units of an item, and you don't want to create 20 different item numbers in Zero and then bring them across into the add-on system. You can just create the item once in Zero and specify 20 different serial numbers attached to it. For each of this serial number, you can maintain additional data, whether it's warehouse location or other comments such as item to be serviced every 6 months or something like that. You can have all kinds of notes. We provide you with 2 additional dates that you can use for any purpose. Some people use it for registration dates or basically your repair and maintenance dates and things like service dates and all that. So this is what the dates are used for. Right. We have configured our rental agreement. We have configured our items. The next step is to start putting through transactions, such as your bookings, your rentals, and other things. So go to the transaction menu. If you have forward bookings, then select the booking details and select either an existing booking or you can clear and start a new one. Before we do that, let's go to our dashboard and let's see this availability of items. You just are getting a phone call from a customer who wants to hire out some equipment, and you just go and say, let me check the availability of the item. So you want it for the month of April. So you want a Capri floor line bed, check the availability. The system tells you, okay, so this bed is not available from 1st of April till 22nd of April, but after that we have 2 units available. So gives you immediately visual reminder of your equipment availability. So you don't have to go through your spreadsheets or other documents to find out, you know, how many do I have, when they are due back, etc. As you can see, at the end of March, you had 4 units available, and somebody has rented out all the 4 equipment from 1st of April to 22nd of April. But after that, 2 units are coming back, and then you have the system flagging it that the items available from those dates onwards. Having identified, let's look at the current week rentals or the current week bookings, and then we say let's start a new booking. So let's say we want to make a booking for this customer. Select the customer name, and the system automatically brings in their details. So as and when you start typing, the system brings you the details, and you can say, all right, for this customer, this is their address. However, I'm going to ship it to a different address. So I'm going to ship it to Fred Smith at 23 Palmer Place, Cinnamon Park, zero 417619424, and it goes to this email ID. So this is the customer you're billing, and this is the customer you're shipping. In case your billing and shipping addresses are the same, all you need to do is click the copy customer address, and that will come through. Then you click on the item details tab to select the items that you want to book. So I want to book the Capri floor line bed. I want 1 unit of that. I want on a daily basis from 24th of April till 25th of April. Just click add details, because the system checks whether the item is available during that period. It comes and tells you the item is available, and therefore you can add it in. We have added a line. You can now add a next line, and then you specify I want 1 unit, and I want the daily, and then you can say I want it for the same period. Right, we have now 2 items booked, and now we need to charge them delivery fee of $50. So totally it's $677 for the customers. And now this is where the extra fields that we created using sundry fields configuration. Remember the sundry fields configuration, we had 4 extra fields. Those are the 4 extra fields that come through here. So we can say this is the 0 roadshow, and we can say this is XXX straight stand, and the event manager is Joe Blogs. Right. We save it. and the system automatically generates a booking number for you. Right, and now you can email it using the email templates, or you can also generate a printout at this stage. So I don't want to include the terms and conditions. All I want to include is just the rental agreement at this stage. So click the rental agreement and the print button. The system takes the data and then it tells you, right, this is the item, this is when you're starting it, this is when you're returning it, 2 days, the delivery charge, and therefore this is the total amount. Right, you can now export it to PDF or whatever, or if you click email and send it directly from the system, it attaches the thing as a PDF. Forgot to show it to you, so let's do it once again. On the first page, the system includes your details in here. Now, you talk to the customer and the customer tells you, right, I'm happy with all of this. Please proceed. Then what you do is you convert that booking into a hire by changing the status from tentative to confirmed. So this tells the system that the booking is now confirmed to a proper rental. Right? So now that we have the details available, we can go to the rental transaction screen. And we can just pick up the booking straight from the rental transaction screen and it comes through. Right, we now can go and assign serial numbers for this item. And then for the next item, we assign a serial number. And we save it. Therefore, this rental transaction is now created. And we can now generate a picking slip. So we can print the components and accessories to go with it. So you can generate this printout and give it to your warehouse staff or other people or to your contractors to go and pick the items from your shelves or wherever. And you can also print all these things from the system. Terms and conditions, rental agreement, components, accessories, etc. So there are a few options in here that I want to show you. One is print all of these things together. And so the system comes up with all these details like previously. And it also includes your rental agreement that the customer signs it off. Terms and conditions. Again, this is from the configuration entries, etc. So you can print it and send it to your customers. You can also print with just one line description. So instead of showing each of the lines with the amounts and everything, you can say rental of event equipment for Zero Roadshow for Benamera. So what the system does is instead of showing individual lines, it will just show one line at the whole amount. So this gives you the flexibility in terms of whether you want to provide all details or only specific details. Also, you can make this as a long-term rental. That means you can invoice this on a monthly basis for for your customer. For long-term rentals, the system requires it for it to be at least a month old. So when you click on long-term rental, the system tells you selected rentals items should be more than a month. Please correct the rental periods and then select long-term rental. You can also, if for long-term rentals, either you can bill on a end-of-month basis, or you can also say, this is a monthly subscribed one, and I want to invoice on the rental anniversary. So every month on the 21st, I wish to invoice this rental. This could be good for your cash flow. Instead of raising invoices at the end of each month, you can raise invoices at the anniversary of your rental. So the system gives you the flexibility that you want to invoice your customer as and when you please, rather than just the end of the month. Again, going back to the challenge of regular invoicing, this allows you to do that. Now, having saved the details, we can now choose to post to zero. So when you're ready to post to zero, just click post to zero. You've collected the money and everything from your customer, and it posts to zero at the stage. So let's show how it's posted to zero. Just go into login0.com. So we have a whole lot of these transactions in there, so we can just pick one of those. So basically the system, when it posts through to zero, it tells you that this is the item is being rented out from this period to this period, and that's the amount, and that comes through to zero directly. This is how the system posts through to zero directly. Right. Having posted the items to zero, and the customer comes back and says, look, I'm happy, and the rental is finished, and now we want to do the termination of the rental. We also provide another feature called stand down periods that allows you to tell the system that the equipment is not able to be used for certain periods. For example, due to bad weather, equipment couldn't be used by the customer, so therefore you can say for this rental we couldn't use the item. So the system knows that for those periods the item shouldn't be invoiced to the customer. Before going into rental termination, you can look at some of these things such as extended rentals. For example, you have a rental that's gone on for a few weeks, and then the customer comes back and say, look, can I extend it for one more week? Just select the rental, and you can specify and say, look, for this rental I want to extend it to the next period. Right, and click extend rental agreement. and the system extends it to the next period. All you need to do is save and post to 0, and the system will post to 0 the invoice for the period. Suppose you have number of these rental transactions that you want to post in bulk. You just select either individually, or if you want to post all of them, just click select all, and all the rentals will be selected, and you can click send email and select the hire agreement template and simply click extend and post to 0. Going back to the challenge of regular invoicing, this will save you significant time and effort every month so that you don't spend too much time sending out individual invoices one after the other. The system takes care of it completely for you. You can also choose to extend your long-term rentals, again based on bulk or based on anniversary dates. And finally, you terminate the rental, and then you say, instead of returning one, if the customer returns everything, you can just click mark all as return, and then you update. This will release the serial number back to the system that you can use for any purpose. And then save it, and the system brings back all the details back to the system. So this gives you flexibility. At that time, the system has calculated, okay, you brought in a bit late, so therefore you need to be charged this much, and you can now choose to post to 0, and that will post the transaction through to 0. Suppose you have number of rental agreements for a customer. Instead of sending individual invoices, you can consolidate the invoices to this customer and send just one big invoice to this customer that includes all the other rental details. This will again save you time and effort. So rather than sending individually, you can generate one consolidated invoice for your customers. Having generated your rental transactions, terminated them and everything, we can now extract a lot of reports from the system. Simple things. Give me the item usage by customer, right? So from 1st of January to 31st of March, show me who held what equipment. Again, suppose you have any issue with particular equipment, you can use this report to say, all right, this customer had this equipment for this particular period. So you can say, okay, for each of these serial numbers at a serial number level, you can see who had what equipment, etc. So it gives you complete flexibility to find out, okay, so this customer had this equipment for a number of months. And so let's find out what happened to that equipment when it was there at their side. Did they do any damage to it and things like that. Suppose you find it's the customer that did the damage. Even though the rental has been terminated, you can go back and you want to charge that rental again. So I can say I can pick up that particular rental agreement, and you can say I want to add some fitting charges of $100, and then you can save it. Right, and you can now post it to 0. Just click post to 0, it will be posted to 0. So even though the rental has finished, you can go back anytime and charge additional amounts. The next one is rental transaction due report. You want to find out, okay, show me all the equipment that are due to be returned next week, say from 26th to the 31st. The system finds out what equipment are due to be returned so that you can do some marketing and go to these customers and say, all right, these equipment are due to be returned next week. So you can call the customers and say, hey customer, do you wish to extend your rentals, or do you want to terminate it, or do you want more equipment to be added? So this gives you complete flexibility as to who has got what and when they are due to be returned, so that you can do some marketing and other sales initiatives. Again, rental items availability. So you can say, all right, from 1st of April to 30th of April, I want to find out everything about air control bed. So just select the item and give me the availability of that item. So the system comes back and tells you it's available. Fantastic. So you can do some marketing and say, all right, for this period, these are available at 5% discount or whatever, so that you can increase your sales. Inventory list report, transaction details and summary. Delivery schedule. Suppose you have drivers going around doing deliveries, then you can select a delivery schedule for a date range and send it to your customers. So the system gives you a whole lot of reporting functionality, things including utilization summary and detail. Simply for the month of February or for the month of March, you can extract a report that tells you what the utilization has been for the month on a summary basis or on a detailed basis. So you can see some equipment has been utilized 18%, 49%, 60%, etc., etc. So overall, you find out, utilization has been around 13%, because sometimes you haven't done any rental for certain items. So you can use this to make decision as to what you need to do with those equipment that are not being rented out, and see if they're costing you money and things like that. Right, so hopefully this gives you a good overview of the system. They can cover a lot of areas, right from configuration through to rentals and everything. Subscribe today for $35 a month and no contract required.